Yes, so yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you joining for this session that we have, this webinar that we have on GMAT number properties. Now, this is a very wonderfully crafted session, and we would teach you a lot of things. You'd learn a lot of things, and by the end of that 2.5 hours, you would go back to your home saying that yes, you have learned a lot, specifically on the questions that come from divisibility and remainders. Now, since this is a very heavily attended webinar, and it's also an application oriented webinar. We had sent you some content over through your emails so that you have a very proper idea on what we are going to discuss over this session. And I hope you have gone through the videos. In case you have not gone through the videos, I would recommend all of you to go through the videos once the session is complete. You can just do that if you go to your e-GMAT platform, go to your e-GMAT account and go to number properties. We have an entire module that's up for free trial, and we definitely want you to have that entire learning so that it's complete and you also do good as far as the section is considered, right? All right, with that, I'll just hide out this poll over here and let's talk about the upcoming webinars. Now, we at e-GMAT, conduct webinars every weekend, both on Saturdays and Sundays. So the next Saturday, we have a webinar on GMAT reading comprehension. So if you are someone, who score over reading comprehension has plateaued, or, if you're not being able to solve questions or you don't know how to read RC passages, you're taking a lot of time to read and comprehend RC passages, this is a webinar that you would definitely want to attend, because in this webinar, we talk about the various reading strategies that are there to master GMAT reading comprehension. And trust me, if you attend the webinar within 2 weeks, you are going to see a lot of difference in your current prep. The next day, that is on June 27th, same time, we have a GMAT Quant workshop. And in this workshop, we are going to talk about, we're first going to test what is your current Quant score. And based on your current Quant score, we would be giving you personalized insights on how do you achieve your target Quant scores. Again, it's a very application-oriented webinar, a webinar through which you understand a lot of things. You get a lot of insights about your level of prep as far as Quant is considered. So these are the two sessions that we have. We also have a very interesting session in which Sankalp is joining us, and he's a product manager at Microsoft. So he's a student of UCLA Anderson, and then he'll be talking about how do you create a compelling MBA application for top B schools, right? To register for that webinar, you can simply click on Get Your Session Pass over here. The webinar is on June 23rd. That's Wednesday, 9 p.m. IST. With that, let's get started around this webinar. And I just have 2-3 questions that I want you people to answer. The first question that I have is, when do you plan to take the GMAT? So kindly put your answers over here. I already see some of you have already put in your answers. So let's get some more answers over this, and let's see what's the group over here. With that, I also have a second question, and I'll just end the poll for the first, and let's get the answer for the second question. That is, what's your GMAT target score? Okay, let's take another 2 to 3 seconds to mark our answers over here. 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to end the poll, and here comes my last question. That is, how much confident are you as far as GMAT number properties is considered? Please mark your answer over this poll. How much confident are you as far as GMAT number properties is considered? 3 more seconds for this. 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to end the poll. All right, so let's get the answers, and let's look at the answers. So as you can see over the first poll that we have on when do you plan to take the GMAT, it's kind of an arithmetic, almost an arithmetic progression that we have over here. A fairly a balanced number of people, but the majority of people are in that 46 to 75 days and in that zone of not taking a date yet. Now, whether you belong to the first 15 days category or not decided a date yet, which is around that 3 months time, I feel after you complete this webinar, the learning that you would be getting would be very, very handy when it comes to GMAT divisibility and remainder questions that you would be solving. The second question that I asked is, what's your target GMAT score? And I'm so very elated to see that 53% of you tell me that you want to score a 730 or higher, and then almost 90% of you tell me that you want to score more than 710 or more than or equal to 710, which is also a very good score. The third question that I asked was on the level of confidence, and I see only 2 people have marked 100%, as you can see over here. 98% of you tell me that your confidence is below 100%, and there are 19% of you who tell me it's less than 15%. It's less than 50%. So I'm gonna give you the poll after we are done with the session, and then we'll just check whether this number goes to the 100% or the 88th percentage levels or not, right? So let's begin, and with that I'll move on to the next presentation pod over here, and I'll bring in the yes no poll. Just give me one very quick second, and I have the yes no poll. Let me shorten it up, pull it out over here. I'll just reopen the poll. Can you please let me know if you all can see the presentation? It's a presentation written number properties 2 on it. Can you please mark a yes? That is perfect. Okay, which color do I choose? Let's choose red, and with that I'm gonna hide my palette. All right, so again, welcome all of you for this one, a number properties session. And now in this session, we will be learning how to solve NP questions, which are based out of divisibility and remainders using a unified approach. I am Atreya Roy, and I would be your main host for today. Supporting me, we have Harsha, and we both are GMAT experts here at e-GMAT. In this session, we are going to learn a lot of concepts. We're going to solve a lot of questions. So let's first understand how we are going to progress in the session. Also, make sure you attend all our upcoming sessions, which are around algebra, geometry. We also have the quant workshop. We have sessions around permutation and combination. We'll be launching that too very soon. So please make sure you attend all these sessions. Right, okay. Now, one very important thing over here is how do we use the various tools that we have, which you can see on your screen right now. Below your screen, at the bottom of your screen, what you can see is a Q&A pod where you can put in your questions related to any content related question, which is related to content or any question or anything else that you might have around GMAT. Harsha and me both would try to answer those questions over time. And in the right hand side of your screen, you can see a short answer poll. Now, this would be used for any question that I ask you, right? For example, we are solving a question. I want to ask you something. So please put those answers in the short answer poll. We'll then have another answer poll over here in the place of yes no poll, which we would use to answer questions around which we would essentially use to answer questions that we have for today's session. Right. So I have 2 questions currently. Where can we watch the recording of this? One, the recording would be mailed to you. And if there was a number properties 1 session, this is the only number property session that we hold as of now, Ram. So I hope that answers your query. So with that, let's understand what we are going to do. So around 2 hours is where we'll learn concepts, solve questions, and you'd get a very good idea of GMAT number properties. Post that, we'll also have a Q&A segment where we'll open the deck for you. If you have any questions, we can take that up. The purpose for this session, we have 2 major purposes. First, that you have to understand that the key of GMAT, or the key of acing GMAT quant, is first, you have a very strong understanding of the basic concepts, and second, you know how to solve questions with a structured approach, with an unified approach, right? So these are something that we are going to focus on today's session. Now, how would the session progress? I'll give you 3 questions, and these are specifically around that 720, 730 GMAT level These are all three of these questions are data sufficiency questions. I want you to solve them out. I won't discuss the answers. Then we'll have 5 warm-up questions. We'll solve 3 questions of problem solving, another 4 questions on problem solving, and based out of whatever knowledge we get from these 12 questions, we'll solve the 3 questions that we solved at the start again. And trust me, if you follow the session throughout, you would be able to solve these 3 questions at the end. So that's our target, something that we cannot solve at start. During the session, we'll learn a lot of content through which we'll be able to solve all of that out towards the end of the session. And then the more of you who can solve these 3 questions, the better the result for the session would be. Right, with that, we'll start off with the first 3 questions. And again, as I told you, these 3 questions are greater than that 80th percentile, or I'd rather say that they are above the 700 level in the GMAT's context. What I'll do over here is, let me quickly hide the yes no poll, and I'll bring out the answer poll for question number 8. What I want all of you to do is mark still solving. Now, there might be a lot of questions on how would you time us, right? So this is how we would time you. I want you people to first mark still solving, and once that is done, when I see 80% of the respondents marking an answer choice apart from still solving, that's when I call time. So in this session, I do not time yourself. You people would time yourselves, right? So I'll go with the average timing for the class over here. Right, so I have almost 120 students. So let's get 60 people marked still solving, please. I have 47 of them who are marked still solving. I want a lot of energy from you people, because in this session we're going to learn a lot. So please make sure that we are completely engaged and concentrated over the session. I have 60 people. That is good. So I'm going to close broadcasting results. And this is the first question. All the best, all of you. Right. Last 15 seconds, all of you. Last 15 seconds. Let's quickly mark the answers. If you have not marked it, we'll move on to the next question. All right, 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to end the poll, and I've noted the results. What I would do is I'll bring in the poll for question number 9. Again, the same thing follows. You mark still solving. I'll show you question number 9, and then we'll move on to that to question number 9. So let's very quickly get those 60 people marked still solving, please. I have the count at 47, 48. I need 12 more people to mark still solving. Again, the faster you click on still solving, the faster you get the next question. So please do this. And this also makes sure that I have a count on how many people are attentively attending the session. All right, I have my number. Thank you for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close broadcasting results. And this is question number 9 to you. All the best for this one. All right, last 15 seconds for this question, guys. If you have not put in the answer, please put your answers over here. Last 15 seconds. Three, 2, and 1. So I'm going to end the poll. Thank you for all of your answers. I'm going to shift the poll over here. And let's get the poll for question number 10. Here is the poll for question number 10. Please mark your answers. Please mark still solving over here. Please mark still solving, and then let's move on to the question, to the last question. I have 55 people. I need a few more. All right, I have my number. I'm going to close broadcasting results, and here is question number 10. All the best, guys. Right, last 15 seconds, guys. Last 15 seconds to mark your answer. If you have not marked your answers, please mark it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I am gonna end the poll, and almost all of you marked the answer over here. So thank you for all of your answers. The answers are reversed. So what I'm gonna do over here is now ask you.
Hey guys, Harsha here. While Atreya connects again, let me just ask you, how were the questions for you? So put the answers in the short answer pod. Let me reopen this. How did you find these three questions? Were they easy? Were they difficult? You guys should be able to hear me now. Yeah. Your confidence level is lower now. Don't worry about it. By the time the session is done, your confidence level will be sky high. Too easy? I like that. That means you're already at a good level. Because remember, the guys, these are all 700 level questions at the end of the day. I'm sure some of you would have found the third question, especially, to be a little extra difficult as well. So quite a few of you found this particular set of questions to be difficult. And let me tell you one thing, the reason we're not discussing the answers for this right now is because we are going to come back to these questions after we cover the basics. So we're going to start with some extreme basics and then we're going to come back to this. And I think Atreya is back here. So let me welcome Atreya back. Over to you, Atreya.
Thank you, Arsha. I am very sorry, guys, for that. A little audio issue. I'm just gonna bring in the yes no poll for my audio. Can you please mark a yes? And let me very quickly get that poll. Just give me one moment. Not sure why isn't. Okay, can you please mark a yes on the Q&A poll, Q&A pod, guys? If you can hear me clearly, just mark a yes on the Q&A pod very quickly. If you all can hear me clearly. Perfect. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, guys, for that. So you tell me that these questions are a bit lengthy, a bit time taking, even difficult. So what we are going to do right now is going to solve very easy questions. Once those questions are done, we'll then move on solving these challenging questions again towards the end. So we'll try to learn how to solve easy questions first, right? So with that, let me get the poll very quickly for the next set of questions, and we are going to start off with easy questions, right? So all right, so we are going to have the warm-up session right now. In this warm-up section, we'll discuss 5 questions, and all these 5 questions are fairly easy, not that difficult. So I'm not gonna give you a lot of time. We are going to discuss these questions very quick, and then we are going to move ahead solving these difficult questions that we right now. So I hope your confidence is up. And let just give me a moment. I'll bring in the poll over here right now. And there's some issue with my Adobe. Can Harsha, can you please help me out with bringing the poll inside the inside the section, please? Just a moment, guys. there seems some issue with Adobe Connect, and I hope you can now see the poll, right? So for this, again, you mark still solving. We'll move into the question, you solve the question, then mark the answer. I'll go with the speed that you people have for today, the average speed of the session, right? So quickly mark still solving, guys. We have 117 people with me, so let's get 60 people mark still solving over here. All right, I have my number. So what I'm going to do is I'll move into the first question. Here's the first question for all of you. All the best. All right, last 5 seconds. Last 5 seconds for this question. 3, 2, and 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the poll and I am going to broadcast the results. So you can see that 78% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice B. Another 16% of you tell me that it's choice A. So first, let's read the question and understand what the question is asking, right? Now, Z is a 3-digit number whose digits are consecutive numbers in increasing order. Now, Z is a 3-digit number whose digits are consecutive numbers in increasing order. We need to say what's the relationship between Z and its divisibility by 3. Now, I'm going to open the short answer poll. You people tell me, what's the condition, what's the concept of so when is a number divisible by 3? What rule does divisibility by 3 follow? Let's quickly get the answers in the short answer poll that you can see on the right of your screen. The sum of the digits is divisible by 3, right? Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So this is something we are trying to find over here. So let's assume that the first digit is x. The second digit, if they're consecutive numbers, would be x plus 1. And the third digit would be x plus 2. If I take out the sum of the digits, because I'm trying to get to that divisibility of 3 concept, so I need to take out the sum of the digits. And I take the sum of the digits as 3x plus 3, which is 3 times of x plus 1. So it's a multiple of 3, right? Now, since 3 times of x plus 1 is definitely divisible by 3, I say that yes, Z is a number that is divisible by 3, right? Very important question, very important concept as far as divisibility of 3 is considered. Right. So with that, let's move ahead with the next question. The next question is also around the same line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear all the answers for this. Please mark as still solving. Let's move on to the next question real quick. Very quickly, please mark as still solving, guys. All right. So we have the next question on your screen. All the best for this one. All right, last 5 seconds for this one. Last 5 seconds for this one, and I completely have a surprise. So please mark your answer, guys. 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to end the poll and let's broadcast the results. So 45% if you tell me that the answer for this question is choice A, 42% if you tell me it's choice C. Now, very interesting. I need to, now I have the same number Z, but with a different constraint. Now, Z is a 4-digit number whose digits are consecutive integers. I need to relate Z with the divisibility of 4, whether D is divisible or not divisible, or maybe divisible by 4 or not. So I'm going to quickly again turn on the short answer poll. Tell me, what's the rule for divisibility by 4? What do we check if a number is divisible by 4? Absolutely correct. We check whether the last 2 digits are divisible by 4 or not. So here we cannot essentially take x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3, because again, if I take that, I do not know the value of x. I do not know what x plus 3 stands as, what x plus 4 stands as. So let's take a few examples to check what could be the answer for this question. So we already know last 2 digits should be divisible by 3. So let's take an example where z is odd, because z can be both even and odd, right? So if z is odd, for example 2, 3, 4, 5, then all of these 4 numbers are consecutive numbers. But again, 2, 3, 4, 5 is not divisible by 4. However, let's consider the case for z being even. If z is even, there again can be 2 cases. So one case can be when the last 2 digits are divisible by 4, for example 3, 4, 5, 6. There can be another case where the last 2 digits are not divisible by 4, for example 1, 2, 3, 4. Now since 56 is a possible answer, this is not, then we can say that there are certain times where z is divisible by 4, but there are also these times where z is not divisible by 4. Hence, the correct answer for this question is choice A. 42% if you have marked choice C as your answer. So I'm going to clear the answers from the short answer poll. I want you people to tell me, where did you falter? Why did you mark choice C but not choice A? So please tell me, people who marked choice C as your answer, where did you falter? What was the concept or the formula that you people missed out on? Use the same approach as Q1. Okay, need more time to solve. Okay, timing is an issue. Try to solve mathematically. I completely understand. So a lot of you tried to solve it like x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3. But again, if you do that, you do not know the values of x plus 2, x plus 3, right? So you cannot essentially say whether they are divisible by 4 or they are not divisible by 4. So that approach would not work here. Again, a very key point of learning in this question, right? So with that, let's move ahead with the next question. Question number 3. I'm going to bring in the poll. Just give me one moment over here. Very quickly clear all the answers, reopen the poll, hide out this poll, and bring out my new poll. Okay, the poll is live. Please mark us still solving. Let's get 60 people mark us still solving, and then let's move to question number 3. Again, these questions are warm-up questions. They might seem a bit easy to you. Take all the learnings that you can get from these questions. I have my 60 people here. Thank you for that. So I'm going to move to question number 3. All the best for this one, guys. All right, last 5 seconds to mark your answers. A lot of people have already marked their answers. I'm just giving you another 3 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. So thank you for all of your answers. I'm going to end the poll, broadcast the results. 79% if you tell me that the answer for this question is choice C, that is this number over here. So let's read the question. what is the number closest to this long a number, which is a multiple of 8? Now we know that if it's a multiple of 8, if it's divisible by 8, what is the rule that we follow? The rule for that is the last 3 digits should be divisible by 8, right? Absolutely correct. Thank you for all of your answers in the short answer poll as well. So the last 3 digits should be divisible by 8, and that is the only thing I'm going to check. So I'm going to check with 897. If I divide 897 by 8, 800 already gives me, it's a multiple of 8 times 100, right? So I need to check with 97. When I divide 97 by 8, it gives me a remainder of 1. So the two numbers which are close to this number is, since this is giving me a remainder of 1, is either -1 this number or +7 this number. Now I need to find out the number which is closest, so I'll go for the -1 number, which is choice C. Right? So this is the answer for this question, and 79% of you got this correct. The remaining 17% of you got this question, did not get this question correct. Please make sure you understand the learning, and with that, let's move on to the next one. So I'm going to clear all the answers, reopen the poll. Please mark as still solving so that we can move on to question number 4. The fourth question is slightly different. It's slightly involving, and it will challenge some of you in this session. I have 53 people. Let's get 10 more people. Please be attentive. Please put in your concentration to the session, guys. Trust me, learn a lot. Okay, I have 64. Thank you for that. So let's move to question number 4 here on your screen. All right, last 5 seconds to mark the answer. Last 5 seconds, guys. Please very quickly mark the answers. 3, 2, 1, and 0. So I'm going to end the poll, and almost all of you have marked the answers. I'm going to broadcast the results, and let's see. So I have 65% of you who tell me that the answer for this question is choice D. Another 27% of you have tell me it's either A or B or C. All right, so let's understand this question. What is the question asking? If a number n leaves a remainder of 3 when divided by 204, what is the remainder when n is divided by 4? This is what I have as my question. So, I am going to teach you something very new. This might be very new to a lot of students. What I want is to very honest, inculcate this approach into your habits, internalize the process. It's going to be a new process, might be a bit tough towards the start, but trust me, once you do that, towards the first 2 questions, when you start internalizing the process and then using the process in the next coming 2-3 questions, when we then saw question number 8, 9, and 10, things are going to be very, very easy. Right? So what we are going to learn is a very new concept, which is, and some of you already know because we've already learned this right from our childhood days, right? The concept is dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder, right? Where there is one only constraint, which is the remainder is always less than the divisor. Here in this question, it is given that the divisor is 4. I need to find out the remainder. So remainder is always less than 4. Now, what I do is I first try to use this concept and write my numbers n in terms of dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. So since n leaves a remainder when divided by 204, I write n as 204 times q, where q is the quotient, plus 3, where 3 is the remainder. The same n can be written as 4 times p plus r, because it leaves I need to find out the remainder when it's divided by 4, right? So here the divisor is 4, p is the quotient. Now, if you look at these two blocks over here, n is equal to 204q plus 3 and n is equal to 4p plus r, what you would see over here is the LHS of both these equations is same, right? Both of them is equal to n. So what I would try to write is I'll try to use the process scalar visualization, and I'll try to make sure that I write 204q plus 3 in terms of 4p plus r. Now, why do I need to do this? Because the moment I do this and the moment I get something in terms of 4p plus r, where r is less than 4, the value of r is my answer, right? This is a new concept. This is a new technique to solve out this question. So please make sure you understand this properly. So first things first, I need to write 204q plus 3 in terms of 4p plus r. And when I see 204q, I see that 204q can be written as 4p if I say that the value of p is equal to 51q, because 204q is 4 times 51q. Now if p is equal to 51q, n can be written as 4 times p plus r, which is what I'm trying to write over here in terms of this. Now here the value of r is equal to 3. I'll just very quickly check whether r is less than 4 or not. Yes, it is. So I can directly say when n is written in the form of 4p plus r, if r is less than the divisor, that r is the direct answer. So 3 over here is the answer for this question. I'm going to very quickly recap this for all of you. So first thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write n with both perspective. One is what's given in my question, the information given in my question. It's given that I get a remainder of 3 when divided by 204. So n is equal to divisor times quotient that I've assumed as q plus 3. N is also equal to 4, which is the divisor, plus p, which is the quotient I've assumed, plus r, where r is less than 4. Then I try to write 204q plus 3 in terms of 4p plus r. Now 3 cannot be written as 4p, right? Because 3 is already less than 4. So I cannot divide this into multiples of 4. So I have to divide 204q into multiples of 4, and I see if I take the value of p to be equal to 51q, which is very simply divided the division of 204q by 4. If I take that as the value of p, I can write n to be equal to 4 times p plus r, where p is 51q and r is equal to 3. Right now, I have a very interesting question from Afzal. What if 204q is not divisible by 4? Very interesting question, and a very nice question. We would solve those kind of questions as well. So that this entire the process is only towards those kind of questions, the difficult ones, so that we can easily solve out those questions. So I hope this solution is clear to all of you, and let me very quickly bring in the yes no poll so that you can answer. And let me get my yes no poll. Just give me one moment, guys. Yes, I have my yes no poll. Can you please mark a yes if the solution for this question is clear to all of you? Again, it is a bit new. You might take some time, but yes, take some time. I'm completely okay with that. But by the time we finish everything, you should be able to solve all these questions. So I am seeing some people are not being completely into the process. So let's take another question. Let's have another question and we'll solve it around the same process. So again, I'm going to reopen the poll. I am going to clear all the answers. Please mark us still solving. Please mark us still solving, guys. We'll solve another question, guys. And Afzal, yes, I know. I'll take that question as well. We have such questions in our session, so we'll solve them out as well. Megha has a very interesting point. Why don't we replace it with dummy values? We'll we can get the remainder, and that will be quick. The only problem with that approach, Megha, is you can do that with easy questions, but trust me, if you are going to target that Q50, Q51, you won't get easy questions. Will the same approach work for difficult questions? A big no. So if it doesn't work for difficult questions, I don't have the return on investment for easy questions, right? Because I'm not going to the GMAT and I don't want to solve easy questions at the test. That is the sole purpose of learning this. A slightly difficult method than putting in dummy values and then checking the answer for that. I hope that clears your doubt. Okay, so I have all of your answers. Let's go to question number 5. All the best, everyone. All right, last 10 seconds for this question. Please mark your answer if you have not marked it. 3, 2, and 1. So I'm going to end the poll. And before I broadcast the results, I'm going to bring in another yes-no poll. Now, how many of you use the concept that we learned in the previous question? Please mark a yes for people who did, a no for people who did not. And please be very honest. I'm just trying to look at your aversion or your direction towards the new approach that we were just talking about. And just be true to yourself. And I just want some honest answers over here. So it's around that 25-20% range, right? So 25% of you tell me that you did not use, and 75% of you tell me that you did use. Now, I'm very, very happy for that 75%. Now, guys, I just want you to tell something over here. You might feel, in this question, even why the hell would I, use that long approach? Because, this question can be easily solved by putting a number over the value of n, getting to the answer. That's a much faster approach. Yes, it is a faster approach, but will the same thing also work with 700 level questions? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. If you are targeting a Q43, Q44, this approach that you are using right now is absolutely fine. If you are targeting a Q50 or a Q51, please try to internalize the process that I'm trying to teach you. It will definitely help you to solve the difficult questions. And that is the reason we have that concept at the first place, right? So I just want you people to follow that process in and out. Right, with that, let me broadcast the results and see what's the answer. Now, 58% of you tell me it's choice A, 25% of you tell me it's choice D, and I completely know the reason why it's choice D, and we are going to talk about that as well. But kudos to the 58% who tell me that the answer for this question is choice A. Now, again, very similar to the last question, we are going to solve it in the same manner. We know that dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. It's given that n leaves a remainder of 6 when divided by 205. So n is equal to 205 times q plus 6. I need to find out what is the remainder n when I divide n by 5. So I'm trying to find out if n is equal to 5p plus r, what is the value of r? Again, a very, very important constraint is r shall be less than 5, right? R has to be less than 5. R cannot be equal or greater than 5, rightly pointed out by Adrian. So Again, we'll use the visualization skill over here. I'll try to write 205q in terms of 5p. Now, if I divide 205q by 5, I get the value of p to be equal to 41q. So I can write n to be equal to 5 times 41q, 5 times 41q plus 6, right? Plus 6. Now, the first thing that I need to understand over here is this is the value of remainder. But is 6 less than 5? No, it is not. Now, since 6 is not less than 5, I'll divide 6 again by 5. So I can write this as 5 times of, and pardon my writing, I'm just using a mouse to do that. 5 times of 41q plus 1 plus 1. Now, what do I have here? I have 5 times of p times r, where r is less than 5. This completely fits into my equation that I wanted. Now, since r is less than 5, that is the answer for my question. So the answer for this question is choice A. I hope this solution is clear to all of you. Now, people who mark choice D, I told you that I know why did you mark choice D. Is it clear to all of you? Just let me bring in the yes no poll very quickly. Is it clear to all of you why it is choice A and not choice D? People who mark choice D. Okay, I still have some people for whom it's not clear. So see, technically, since the value of r is equal to 6, it cannot be the answer, right? Why? Because n is getting divided by 5. So my divisor is 5. Clearly, I have a constraint over my remainder. My remainder can never ever be greater than the divisor or even equal to the divisor. Since my remainder has to be less than 5, 6 can never be the answer. I have to divide 6 again by 5 to get the remainder until and unless I get a remainder which is less than 5. Please keep this in mind. An area a lot of students falter at, but yes, please make sure you solve this question effectively by keeping in mind all constraints that you have, right? All right, with that, let's move ahead and discuss the feedback for these 5 questions. Now, before that, let me see how many questions did you get correct. So let me bring in the poll over here and just give me one moment. I'll very quickly clear all the answers. All right, can we please have the answers on how many questions did you get correct out of these 5 questions that we solved in the warm-up section? All right, so 20% of you tell me that you could solve all the 5 questions, and I'm very, very happy for them. Around 60% people who could solve 3 to 4 questions, and around that 15 to 20% who could solve 1 or 2 or 0 as well. So yes, so we'll take all these learnings from these questions and then move on to use these ones in the questions that are going to follow. Right. Okay. I have a question from Kirti. I would come to that question, Kirti. Just stay tuned. We'll come to that topic in another 15 to 20 minutes maximum. Right. So before we move up to the next set of questions, the first thing that I want you to understand is, conceptual clarity is something that's very, very important. And I want all of you to have a 200% clarity in the concepts. If you scored less than the 100% in these questions, it's completely fine. But I would want you to go and revise the concepts once. You can easily access the concepts using the free trial that you have over e-GMAT. Even if you are not a paid e-GMAT student, we have made the number properties in a course. We kept that in the free trial state over there. Secondly, what you need to understand is the GMAT questions that you would be solving require a much advanced level of application of these concepts. You need to be sure that you know these concepts in and out, because the application is another difficult task that you need to go through, right? All right, so next, let's move on to the next question. But before that, we as you already know, that we have the system of where you can talk to one of our strategy experts on a free basis, on a one-to-one basis, And just let me one very quick second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the poll for this. I'm going to bring in the link and I'm going to launch this link. So guys, please make sure you if you're not an e-GMAT student, if you want to understand where do you stand right now, if you want to understand how to improve to your target GMAT score within the shortest amount of time, use this feature where you can talk with one of our GMAT strategy experts, and he'll be helping out with the milestones, with the estimates, and the metrics that you need to track for your GMAT prep. I've launched the link. You just need to go to this link. There are a lot of issues over here and please select the issue that matches your problem area. For example, if you're having timing issue, if a score stuck, let's say at a 650, you want to reach to a 720, you have a very low quant score, or you have a very low verbal score, you want to improve that. So he'll be helping you out with all of that over here. So you can book a call using this process, and it's completely free for students who are not a part of e-GMAT. For students who are a part of e-GMAT, make sure you attend the onboarding sessions. Make sure you create your personalized study plan. You understand the personal study plan and the 3 stages of learning. At any point in time, if you have the slightest of confusion, write to us at support. We'll help you out to understand, and we'll help you out to sort out any problem that you have. Please also make sure that you attend the onboarding sessions twice per week. We hold the onboarding sessions once on the Mondays and the Fridays. Make sure to do that. Attend the test readiness sessions, because there we talk to you about how to strategize on your mocks, how do you go about the entire plan of cementing stage 2 and stage 3, and also in case you have any questions, any doubts, we are always there, right? So you can simply mail us at support@gmat.com, and we'll take care of that problem that you have. With that, let's move on to the next set of questions, and we will now solve some 600 level problem solving questions. Again, we'll try to use the learnings that we had from the previous set of questions. So what I'm going to do is I am going to bring in the poll, and just let me one moment over here. So here's the poll. I'm going to close out broadcasting results. Okay, can you please mark still solving, guys? Let's have 60 people mark still solving over here. And once that is done, I'll show you the next question, which is question number 1. All right, thank you for all of your responses. Here is question number 1 for all of you. All the best. All right. Last 5 seconds to mark the answer. Please mark the answer if you have not marked it yet. 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to end the poll and broadcast the results. Now, 64% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice C. Around 20% of you, 27% of you who marked other choices than choice C. Now, one very, very important question that I have for all of you before I move into the solution for this is I'm going to bring in the yes no poll. Tell me, how many of you did the math over here? That is, calculated the value of m and then then calculated the remainder. How many of you did the math over here? So still sticking to traditional methods of calculating, you're still not moving into that, divisor is equal to dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder concept. Okay, we would have slight changes into this because there would be numbers which are difficult to calculate, and at those numbers it's really going to be very difficult if you use the math, if you try to figure out the answer through the math. However, I'm very, very happy to those 52% who tell me that they did not use the math, they used the concept that we had learned and then solved the question. So let's now look at, I'm going to hide the poll. Thank you for all of your answers. Let's now look at the question. Now in this question, it's given that m is a positive integer. M divided by 30 is equal to 8.2. What is the remainder when m is divided by 15? So again, let's use the same concept where dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. And here, since the divisor is 15, the remainder has to be less than 15. That's the answer that I'm looking for. Firstly, m is equal to 30 times 8 by 8.2 because m by 30 is equal to 8.2. So I just take 30 towards the right hand side and can write m to be equal to 30 times 8.2. Now, if m can be written as 30 times 8.2, I divide 8.2 into two parts. One is 8, the other is 0.2, right? Now, I have 30 times 8 plus 30 times 0.2. I need to write m in terms of 15p plus r because I need to find out the value of r when m is divided by 15. So the divisor over here is 15. So one thing that I do over here is I very quickly understand 30 times 8 and 30 times 0.2. 30 times 0.2 is nothing but 6, right? And 30 times 8 is what I have over here. Now I write 30 times 0.2 as 6. Then I have 30 times 8. I want to write this in terms of 15p because 30 times 0.2, which is 6, cannot be written in terms of 15p. So only 30 times 8 can be written in terms of 15p. Now, what is 30 times 8? 30 times 8 is nothing but 15 times 2, which is 30 times 8. So here, if I divide and if I try to visualize over here, 30 is nothing but 15 times 2, and then I have an 8. So 30 times 8 can be written as 15 times 16, and this 16 over here is nothing but the p that we were looking in m over here. So now we can write m as 15 times p plus r, where r is equal to 6. We'll very quickly check if this comes under the constraint of r being less than 15 or not. Yes, it does. So we'll directly mark 6 as the answer. And hence choice C is absolutely the correct answer choice. Again, we used the concept of dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. We did not do the math because again, the math would not help us solve questions which are on that 700 level or 750 level, which we'll come to know as we solve more questions, right? I hope the solution is clear to all of you. So with that, let's move into the second question. Again, the process remains same. Please mark as still solving, and then I'll show you the second question. And let's just take 2-3 seconds to mark still solving because the more time you take marking a still solving, the more time that I have to take giving you the next question. I have 46 people, need 14 more. Okay, I have 50, need 10 more people. Let's quickly mark still solving. I have 52. All right, I have my number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the next question. This is question number 2. All the best, guys. All right, last 5 seconds for marking the answer for this question. Last 5 seconds only. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I'm going to end the poll, broadcast the results. I'm so very happy to see 82% of you marking choice C as the right answer, which is indeed the right answer for this question. Now, again, I'm going to bring in the yes no poll as a tradition. Tell me, guys, how many of you did the math in this question? How many of you did the math in this question? That is, calculated the value of m, which is 8.2 times 15, and then used it. All right, that number has drastically gone down and substantially gone down. I'm so very happy to see that. Because the next question, question number 3, you would essentially see why I don't want you people to do the math, right? So let's get this yes no poll over here. Choice C is absolutely the correct answer for this question. So let's read the question first. Again, m is a positive number, a positive integer. M by 15 is equal to 8.2. What is the remainder when m is divided by 30? So how do I write m? I write m as 15 times 8.2. Now I again divide 8.2 into two parts. One is 8, the other is 0.2. 15 times 0.2 is as simple as it's equal to 3, right? So 15 times 0.2 is equal to 3. And then I have 15 times 8. I need to write m as 30p plus r because here the divisor is equal to 30. The constraint that I need to check out for is r less than 30 or not, right? So m is equal to 30p plus r. 15 times 8 needs to be written in terms of 30. How do I get a 30 from 15? I simply multiply 15 with 2. Where do I have a 2? I have 2's in 8, right? So I take a 2 from 8, which is 2 times 4. So I've taken a 2 from 8, right? And then what do I have? I have 15 times 2 times 4. What is 15 times 2? It's equal to 30. So now I have m to be equal to 30 times p, where p is equal to 4 plus r. Is r less than 30? Yes, it is. So this is directly my question. Now, very important question. Why do I divide 8.2 into two parts? Again, because that's a fraction, right? I need to convert that into an integer, Vedang. And that is the reason I divide 8.2 into its integral part and its fractional part. I hope that is clear to you. All right, with that 82% accuracy, I'm so very happy. Let's move on to question number 3. Please mark us still solving, guys. Now, in question number 3, if you try to do the math, it is going to take some time of yours because it's not an easy math to perform. Okay, I have 52 people. Let's get 8 more people. Mark are still solving very quickly. Very interesting question coming up. Just to tell you that the first approach that you people used to solve questions was not that effective one. All right, I have 61, so very good. I have question number 3 over here. All the best, guys. All right, everyone. Last 5 seconds to mark the answer for this question. Please mark your answer if you have not done so. 3, 2, and 1. So I'm going to end the poll and I am going to broadcast the results. So 23% of you tell me it's choice B, 6% of you tell me it's either C or D, 63% of you tell me it's choice E. Now for this question, choice E is absolutely the right answer. Now, this question has some level of difficulty in terms of the calculation. But again, as the tradition goes, I'm going to bring in the yes/no poll. Tell me, how many of you did the math in this question? And if you are not doing the math, this question would pose some threat. The calculation is a bit difficult, but again, I want you to go through that calculation, because that is something that you would go through in actual GMAT. If you do not do these practices, solving those difficult questions in the actual GMAT becomes difficult. And then we have a lot of students coming and saying that, I used to solve these questions effectively. Why could I not solve in the GMAT? We have the same answer for them, that you solve questions, but not in the effective manner. So 40, okay, numbers are changing very quickly. Almost 40% of you are telling me that you people did the math, that is calculated the value of M. Again, not a correct approach. I just want you to learn this once for all, because once you do that, it becomes very easy. So here in this question, it is given that M by 15 is equal to 9.2. So what is the value of M? The value of M is equal to 9.2 times 15. I have to find out the remainder when M is divided by 30. So I'll use the same process. I'll divide 9.2 into two parts. One is 9, the other is 0.2. I need to write M in terms of 30p plus R, where R is less than 30, right? So M is equal to 15 times 9 plus 15 times 2. What is the value of 15 times 2? It's equal to 3, right? I have a 3 over here. But then I have a 15 times 9. I need to convert this 15 into a 30. How do I do that? I need a 2. But how do I get a 2 from 9? Because this is not an even number. So I break this into an even number. So I break 9 into 8 plus 1. If I break 9 into 8 plus 1, what do I have? I have 15 times 8 plus 15 times 1 plus 3. Now what is 15 times 1 plus 3? This is nothing but 18. This is simply 15 plus 3, that is 18. But with that, what do I have? I have 15 times 8. Again, I need to make 30s. So I need to take out a 2 from 8, something we have already done in the last question. So I've taken a 2 from 8. I can now write that as 30 times P plus R, where now R is less than 30. Yes, it is less than 30. So if it's less than 30, that's directly my answer. I mark choice E, the right answer for this question. Right? Okay. I have a very interesting question from Ashish. Can't we write 9 as 4.5 times 2? Again, if you want to write 9 as 4.5 times 2, you can do that. But again, that integral part that does not come into 30 needs to be taken out. Once taken out, you have to go through the entire process once, right? So it's better to break 9.2 into 9 and 0.2. Right at the start, break it into the simplest decimal and the largest integer that you can see over here. That's a more effective way to answer this question. Right, with that, let me bring in the yes/no poll. So just let me know if the solution for these 3 questions are clear to all of you or not. That is perfect. Again, try to use this process. I know it's difficult, very honestly. If you have solved questions in a certain process, inculcating a new approach becomes difficult. But this is just a request from my end, because this would yield good results to you. I want those good results to happen to you, and that is the reason I'm stressing so much on using this method for the next set of questions. Right? All right. Thank you for all of your answers, guys. Let's very quickly take an overview of what we found in question number 1, 2, 3. Now, remember, all these questions were in that range of 650 to 700. In the first question, we had 30 times 8, we had to make it to 15. So we broke 8, and then we make it to we made it to we broke 30, made it to 15 times 2, and then calculated the value of r. In the second question, we had 15 times 8, we needed a 30, so we had to break r into 2 times 4 and then calculate the value of r. In the last question, we had an odd number, so getting a 30 was slightly a difficult job. We broke that into an even number plus an odd. Why even? Because we'll get a 30 very easily from a 15, and then we can solve out the rest, right? So from that 15, using that even number, we get a 2, and then the remaining part remains same. We get the value of r through that, right? So this is the approach that we solved out for this question. And with that, let's move on to the next set of questions. Now we are going into that 700 plus level PS questions. But before we move ahead to that, I want to ask you a very important question. Mark a yes if you are 200% confident with the concept of dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. Okay, I'm also seeing some people saying a no. That is again, guys, if you are not 200% confident, try to inculcate. Do not use another approach to solve questions. If you do not use only, then your confidence level would increase. Try to solve the same questions with the same concept. If you do not use that, it's going to give you a tough time. And then that is something that you have to follow, right? So thank you for all of your answers. I hope you follow this and then become strong at this concept. Just use the concept to solve questions. We'll see some more questions so that now you become a bit more confident with this concept, right? All right, so let's now in the subsequent slides, we are going to understand on this concept only, and learn few more things which are very handy when it comes to GMAT questions. Now, what is the first thing? Let me ask you a question, and very quickly let me hide question number, the poll for this question, and just broaden this the short answer poll. Now guys, tell me, what is the remainder? If I ask you a question, what is the remainder when 31 plus 43 is divided by 7? There are essentially two ways to solve this question. One is you add these two numbers first, that is 31 plus 43 is equal to 74. You then calculate what's the remainder when 74 is divided by 7. This is one way to do it, right? The second way is you calculate the remainder when 31 is divided by 7, and then again you calculate the remainder when 43 is divided by 7. So when you divide 31 by 7, you get a remainder of 3. When you divide 43 by 7, you get a remainder of 1. Since I had a plus sign, an addition sign in the question, I need to add the two remainders, the two individual remainders that I get to reach to the final answer. So this also gives me an answer of 4. This also gives me an answer of 4. Which sequence, and mark a 1 or 2, which sequence do you think is more effective in solving this question? Sequence 1, where I calculate the sum first and then the remainder, or sequence 2, where I calculate the individual remainders and then the sum? Which is more easy? 2, okay, but again, 2 would require 2 calculations. But yes, if you feel that 31 plus 43 is going to give me a larger number, or if the numbers are big over here, then yes, definitely 2 is correct. In this question, I would say either is good. Sequence 1 fairly better in my opinion, right? But again, for larger numbers, sequence 2 has to be more efficient. What about if I tell you what is the remainder when 31 times 43 is divided by 7? So sequence 1 is first you multiply the two numbers and you then calculate the remainder, this bigger number divided by 7. Sequence 2 is you calculate the individual remainders, and since in the original question I had a multiplication sign, you calculate the product of the remainder and then reach to the final answer. What do you think is a better sequence when it comes to question number 2? You can mark your answer in the short answer poll. For this question, definitely 2, right? Because in sequence number 2, It's very easy. Calculating these remainders is not that difficult. But yes, calculating the remainder when 1333 is divided by 7 is an ardent task. It's a very difficult task. So you have to decide which sequence is better for which kind of questions. Whenever it comes to bigger questions, larger numbers, product, all these questions, we always use the second sequence. That's the more effective sequence for these kind of questions. So this was about adding and multiplying remainders. Okay, a very important question that I have in the Q&A pod. Kirti asks me the question: what if the number has both combinations, 31 plus 43 times 31 plus 43? Again, for 31 plus 43, you are going to use sequence 1. For 31 times 43, you are going to use sequence 2. So that doesn't change. Whenever you see products, whenever you see larger numbers, I would want you to use the second sequence. I hope that clears your question. That answers your question, Kirti. So with that, now that we have a proper idea on adding and multiplying remainders, let's now move on to the rationale, and we're just going to understand why does this happen. This happened because of the same concept that we learned, which is dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. How? Now I know that 31 is equal to 7 times 4 plus 3, and 43 is equal to 7 times 6 plus 1. So when I add these two numbers, I'm essentially adding these two parts over here. So if I take 7 common, what I see is I can write that in form of 7 times p plus r, where r is the remainder, right? 7 times p plus r, where r is the remainder. The same thing also happens in the multiplication as well. I first calculate 31, which is 7 times 4 plus 3, then calculate 43, which is 7 times 6 plus 1. Now that I multiply together, compare this with when I'm multiplying a times a plus b, or a times a plus b times c plus d. Take this as an example. When I multiply these two terms together, what do I have? I have a times c, which is 7 times 4 times 7 times 6. Then I have a times d, which is 3 times 7 times 6. Then I have b times c, which is this, and then b times d, which is 3 times 1. Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 7 common and get an expression just to make sure that I write this entire expression in terms of 7p plus r. So then I can find that, this can be written as 7p plus r if this large expression is considered as p, and this is the final answer for my question. So both these addition and multiplication of remainders are around the same concept of dividend is equal to divisor times quotient. You need to decide which sequence do you use. But yes, as a recommendation, I'd always say that whenever you have larger numbers, whenever you have products, always use the second sequence. With that, just give me one moment. What I'll do is I'm gonna shorten the poll over here, bring in my poll for question number 4. Here is the poll for question number 4. I'm gonna reopen this. Please mark us still solving. Let's get 60 people mark us still solving over here, and let's move on to the really interesting questions that I have for you in this session. I have 40 people. Need 10 more guys, very quickly, please. I have 55 people, need 5 more people to mark still solving. Again, the faster you click on still solving, the faster I give you the question, right? Okay, I have my number. Here is question number 4. All the best, guys. All right, let's look at this question. Last 5 answers, last 5 seconds to mark your answer, guys. Take 5 seconds to mark your answer. If you have not marked it yet. Three, two, and one. I'm gonna end the poll. Let's see. So 53% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice A. 33% if you tell me it's choice C. Now let's look at the question. What do I have? I have, what is the remainder when 24 to the power 3 times 38 to the power 5 is divided by 3, right? That's what I have with me. Now, one very important thing, and we are going to learn this thing as well in the coming on slides, but yes, 24 to the power 3 times 38 to the power 3. I'm going to open the short answer poll. Tell me, sequence 1 or sequence 2, guys? Sequence 1 or sequence 2? Sequence 2, right? Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I'm very, very happy that you people can now understand this. So I'm going to end the poll. Thank you for all of your answers. I'm going to clear all the answers. So I have two numbers over here, 24 and 38. So I'll very quickly check. Now, 24 is completely divisible by 3, right? So I had two numbers, 24 to the power 3 and 35 to the power 8. I had two numbers, 24 and 38. 24 has 24 has 3 in it, so it's completely divisible by 3. Thus, the remainder that we get from 24 is always equal to 0. Now, so I would be writing this as 24 to the power 3 means I'll write 3 24s, right? And then with that, I have a certain number of 38s, 5 38s. At the end, and I'm gonna reopen the short answer poll. At the end, I am going to multiply all the remainders, yes or no? At the end, I am going to multiply all the remainders that I have from the 324s and the 538s, yes or no, guys? That's what we learned in that last part, right? We are going to multiply, because in this question it's multiplication over here. Now, since I'm going to multiply, what is the product if I multiply 0 with any other product? Let's that be 0 or any other number. If I'm multiplying 0 with it, the final product is equal to how much? It's always equal to 0, correct? It's always equal to 0. So I don't even have to go to this 38 part, because I know since I am getting 1 0, the entire product is going to be 0, because 0 is present in that product itself, right? And since I have a 0 in the product, the answer for this question is choice A. I'm going to very quickly bring in the yes no poll. Please mark a yes if you understand and to how to solve this question. Please mark a yes if you understand how to solve this question and if the solution is clear to all of you. That is perfect. So this is something we call as observation. So you rightly pointed out that 24 is divisible by 0. Now, for people who marked choice, and let me clear all the answers over here. For people who marked choice C, I have 26 people who have marked choice C. Tell me, where did you falter so that I can fix that right now? Tell me, guys, where did you falter? Which was the question? Which was the area that you could not, understand properly? Started solving it. Okay, again, we'll not do that, right? Then multiply by 0 at the end. Okay, unit still cyclicity. No, we are not going to cyclicity right now. We're just focusing on remainders. So we'll just use that same, funda that we have used. Trying to break 38 into pieces. Again, good. That's a good thing. Solve it like 24 to the power 3 plus 38 to the power 5. Okay, get that as well. So all these things we'll try to check in the next question, right? So with that, let me bring in question number 5's poll. Please mark a yes. Please mark still solving in the poll, and then let's move into the 5th question. I want all of you to mark the correct answer in this question very quickly, guys. I have 40 people. Let's get 20 more. Very quickly, let's get 20 more people. See, this is turning out to be very interesting, right? We are learning a lot of concepts. Okay, I have my 60 people. Now this is question number 5 to all of you. All the best, guys. All right, last 5 seconds to mark the answer, guys. Last 5 seconds. If you have not marked the answer, please mark it. 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to end the poll, and I am very happy because I can see 81% of you have told me that the answer for this question is choice C, which is essentially the correct answer. Now, what's given in the question? It's given that I need to calculate the remainder when 25 times 38 whole to the power 3 is divided by 3. Okay, very, very quick question in the short answer poll. Sequence 1 or sequence 2, guys? Sequence 1 or sequence 2? 2, right? Absolutely correct. Absolutely perfect. So I'm going to end the poll. Thank you for all of your answers. So sequence 2 is something that we would be using. That is, I'll individually calculate the remainders for 25 and 38. Now, what is the remainder for 25? The remainder for 25 is equal to 1. What is the remainder when I divide 38 by 3? That is equal to 2. So what is the remainder when 25 times 38 is divided by 3? It's equal to 2. However, I have a 3 in the exponent, right? And what does that mean? It means that I have this written 3 times all over. So if this gives me a remainder of 2, the same expression over here and here would give me a remainder of 2 as well. So 2 times 2 times 2 is my total remainder. Now 2 times 2 times 2 is equal to 8. So 8 is my final answer. But if the divisor is 3, can 8 be the answer? No, right? My remainder always needs to be less than the divisor. So it always needs to be less than 3. So then I divide 8 again by 3 to find out the final answer. And I end up getting 2 as my final answer. I hope this is clear to all of you. Again, very, very interesting questions. And I hope that you learn, that you're learning a lot. Right? So with that, let's now look at the overview for question number 4 and 5. What did we do in question number 4? We again, before that, you need to learn that calculations can be simplified using the 2 sequences that we have. If the numbers are short, you can add them up and then divide. If the numbers are long, sequence 2 always is a better sequence. So if initial sign is positive, initial sign is of addition, then you need to add the 2 numbers. So if the initial sign is a product, then you need to multiply the 2 numbers. If you have a power, again, very, very important, guys, please keep this in mind. If I have a power, you first calculate the individual remainder, then bring in the power for that question, right? So very quickly in the chat pod, I just want you people to write it down so that you people remember. Let me clear all the answers and reopen. What do you do first? You calculate the individual remainder, then use the power. Can you please write that down for me in the chat pod? I'm just doing this exercise so that you people keep that in mind. First calculate the remainder, then bring in the power. Can you please write that down for me? It's kind of small exercises that we used to get in childhood, right? In the short answer poll, first calculate the individual remainder, then bring in the power. Thanks a lot for this, guys. Thanks a lot for this. I just wanted you people to write this down so that you people have this in your head, because it would be required in a question that we have over here. All right, with that, now let's learn a very important concept over here, and I'll also clear out the answers over here. Now let's learn a very important concept. We already know this, right? That dividend is equal to divisor times quotient plus remainder. There's a concept of negative remainders that makes our life very easy. So we are now going to learn that. Now, whenever you divide 5 by 2, right? Whenever you divide 5 by 2, the remainder that you get is equal to 1, correct? But if that happens when I take the quotient to be equal to 2, what if I take the quotient to be equal to 3 in terms of 2? Then I can write 5 to be equal to 2 times 3 minus 1. Now this minus 1 over here is a negative remainder. But keep in mind, by the definition of remainder, remainder can either be 0 or less than the divisor. It can never be remainder. So why are we learning negative remainders? We're learning negative remainders because they make calculations very, very easy, you know, and we'll see that. We'll see how does this make calculations very, very easy. And we'll also see how to calculate negative remainders. For now, just understand that there is something called negative remainders. Let's take another example. When I divide 8 by 3. Now 8 by 3 can be written as 3 times 2 plus 2. where 2 is the positive remainder. But if I replace 2, which was the quotient over here, by 3, then we have a -1, right? And this -1 can be treated as a negative remainder. Now, how do you calculate negative remainder from a positive remainder? Very, very important concept. I want all of you to write this down in your notebooks. The value of positive remainder is equal to negative remainder plus the divisor. And in case you want to calculate the negative remainder, you subtract the divisor from the positive remainder. When you subtract the divisor from the positive remainder, you get the negative remainder. So please keep this formula in your mind, that positive remainder is equal to negative remainder plus the divisor. Now, one very, very important point. Can negative remainders be the final answer? I guess Kirti had this question previously. Now, a negative remainder can never ever be the final answer, guys, because by the definition of remainders, it always has to be a non-negative number. It can either be 0 or a positive number. It can never be a negative number. So this is something so we have to keep in mind. Now, when we have a negative remainder, we need to turn that back to a positive remainder to get to the final answer. Now, how do I turn that negative remainder to positive remainder? By using the same thing, positive remainder is equal to negative remainder plus divisor. So you have the negative remainder, you know the divisor, just simply add them up. That is the answer for that question, right? So please keep that in mind. So we'll use the same thing, and we'll now try to work out a few questions around the same lines. Right, so with that, let's move ahead and go to question number 6. Just give me one moment. Over here, let me bring in the poll for question number 6. Here's the poll for question number 6, guys. Can you please mark still solving? I have 50 people, need 10 more very quickly. The upcoming questions are very interesting. Trust me on this. Okay, I have 56. Let's have 5 more very quickly, guys. Please, mark still solving. 57, need 3 more. 58, 2 more people. 59, 60. Perfect. This is question number 6 on your screen right now. All right, guys. 5 more seconds. If you've not marked the answer, or let's take 10 seconds, not 5. Let's take 10 seconds. If you have not marked the answer, please mark it. Slightly increase the poll so that you can see all the options throughout. Perfect. All right, 3, 2, 1, and 0. I'm gonna end the poll, broadcast the results. 87% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice D, that is 2. All right, let's check. Now, what do I have over here? I need to calculate the remainder when 24 to the power 38 times 24 to the power 3 times 38 to the power 5 plus 17 to the power 7 is divided by 3. So very quickly in the short answer poll, sequence 1 or sequence 2? Miscellaneous, because I have both product and addition, right? Very good, very good. But yes, but essentially I'll go with sequence 2. But because sequence 2 at fair cases is always very easy. Is always very easy. So but yes, I definitely like the way you thought over there. Okay, so let's now move over to this question. I have 24 times 24 to the power 3 times 38 to the power 5. Guys, very quickly in the yes no poll, which I'll be bringing in a moment now, is 24 divisible by 3? Yes or no? Is 24 divisible by 3? Yes or no? It definitely is, right? We have 24 inside 3. 24 is equal to 3 times 8. So I have that 3 inside that 24. Absolutely correct. Okay, so very clear, very quickly. I've cleared all the answers. When I divide 24 by 3, the remainder is 0. Yes or no? When I divide 24 by 3, the remainder is 0. Yes or no? Yes, I would be getting a 0 as the remainder. So this gives me a remainder of 0. That essentially means this entire block would give me a remainder of 0. Yes or no? This entire block is going to give me a remainder of 0, right? Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So now that I've seen this, I'll go to the next part. So I know that 24 times 38 to the power 5 is going to give me a remainder of zeros and not spend much time over here. The only thing that I'm left with is 17 to the power 7. Now 17 to the power 7, and very quickly in the short answer poll, let me reopen the poll. Sequence 1 or sequence 2, guys? 17 to the power 7, sequence 1 or sequence 2? Something that I wanted you people to write, right? First, the individual remainder, then bring in the power. So first I'll calculate what is the remainder when I divide 17 by 3. I either get a remainder of 2 or I get a remainder of 1. Now, which one to choose? Shall I choose -1 or shall I choose +2? I know that I have to bring in the power at a later stage. I have the power as 7. What do you think is more easy to calculate? -1 to the power 7 or 2 to the power 7? In your opinion, what is more easy to calculate? -1 to the power 7 or 2 to the power 7? Put in your answer in the short answer poll. Is it 2 or -1? It's definitely -1, right? It's definitely -1. So we have done the same thing over here. So now you understand why did we learn negative remainders. We learned negative remainders so that the complexity of the question, the complexity of calculations, the time I take in calculations become easy for me. So very quickly, -1 to the power an odd number always gives me -1, right? -1 to the power even gives me +1. -1 to the power odd number gives me -1. So the final remainder is -1. However, keep that in mind that a negative number cannot be the final remainder. So I need to turn this negative remainder into a positive remainder. And how do I do that? I simply add the divisor. What's the divisor in the question? It's equal to 3. So I add 3 to this -1. I get 2 as the answer, which makes choice D as the right answer for my question. Very quickly, I'm going to bring in the yes no poll. Tell me, is the solution clear to all of you? Is the understanding of negative remainders clear to all of you? Is the understanding why we use negative remainders clear to all of you? Only mark a yes if you have yes in all the 3 questions that I asked. All right, that is perfect. That is perfect. So please use negative remainders to make sure you calculate less. You use that to decrease the complexity of negative remainders. Okay, if it were even power of -1, Vivu has this question. What if we have an even power of -1? In that case, Vivu, will even power to -1 is always equal to +1. So in that case, +1 would be the final answer. Journal has a question. Is there a proof available for this property of remainder? Yes, that I showed you, right? Journal, I'll also share the PDF with you so that you can have a very quick look into that. Right? All right. So with that, let's move on to the next question. Question number 7. Just give me one moment over here. I'll bring in the poll. Please mark us still solving, guys. Please very quickly mark a still solving so that we can move into question number 7. So we have one more question. You can answer this, and I'm very, very sure. Okay, I have 60 people, so let's move into question number 7. All the best, all of you. Okay, last 5 seconds. You have not marked the answer. Please mark them. If you have not marked the answer, please mark it. All right, 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to end the poll. Let me broadcast the results. 91% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice E. And yes, how can you be wrong? Because you have already mastered the process. So let's very quickly check. I have what? I have 24 to the power 3 times 38 to the power 5 plus 17 to the power 7. Now I know that 24 is a number which is divisible by 6. So this entire block, 24 to the power 3 times 38 to the power, would essentially give me a 0 as the remainder. What else do I have? I have 17 to the power 7, and I need to calculate the remainder when that's divided by 6. So remember what we learned. First the individual remainder, then the power. So I'll calculate the individual remainder first. So if I divide 17 by 6, I either get plus 5 as the remainder or minus 1 as the negative remainder. Now, in your opinion, what's easier to calculate? Minus 1 to the power 7 or 5 to the power 7? All right, tell me guys, minus 1 to the power 7 or 5 to the power 7? Definitely minus 1 to the power 7, right? All right, minus 1 to the power an even to the power an odd number would return me minus 1 itself. Can that be the answer? No, it cannot be the answer. I am to convert this into a positive remainder. And how do I convert this? Simply add the divisor. What's the divisor? It's equal to 6. So minus 1 plus 6, 5 is the right answer for this question. Now, thank you for all those comments that you have learned. And I'm literally seeing it. You solved this question literally in 20-25 seconds, right? So you're not taking time at all. I want you people to tell me, now that you've learned these processes, how are you feeling? In the short answer poll, you can comment that on the short answer poll. Now that you've learned, how are you feeling? Confident? Good? That is perfect. All right, so let me bring in the poll real quick. Just give me one moment over here. Let me hide out this poll. I'm very happy to see that you people really like the concept of negative remainders. That it made you people confident. That's the best part of the session, man. All right, question number. Why do I have question number 7 again? Guys, I'm very sorry for this. It's just taking a bit more time. Just bear with me for 1 second. All right. Okay, I have my poll over here. Let me reopen that, bring it to you people. Can you please mark us still solving over here? Again, whatever we learned, we are going to use that. I'm going to give a very quick review of that because I don't want you people to forget on the learnings. All right, so what did we learn? It's very fine, it's very okay to process negative remainders. What you need to keep in mind is you convert that negative remainder into a positive remainder when you mark the answer. Negative remainders would definitely use calculations, right? Remember the formula that negative remainder is plus the divisor is equal to the positive remainder. And another very important thing, which is not that easy, but that it's something that I want you people to keep in mind. First thing, whenever we said that 24 by 3 is the remainder is equal to 0, we said that because 3 was present inside 24, right? We had a 3 in 24. So whenever k is divisible by n, n has to be present inside k. With this learning, let's now move to question number 8. I already see so many answers. Why do I see that? I do not know. But all right, let's move on to question number 8. All the best, guys, for this. All right, last 5 seconds, guys. Last 5 seconds to mark the answer for this question. 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to end the poll and let me broadcast the results. Now, what I have here, 51% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice A. 35% if you tell me that it's choice C. That is, I need both the statements together. All right, perfect. Let's now look at the question and try to solve this one out. Now, what is the remainder when the positive integer p, so p is a positive integer, when divided by a positive integer m, so m is also a positive integer where m is greater than 1. So we have 3 constraints, p, m, both are positive integers and m is greater than 1, right? So we first try to understand what the question statement is saying us. I need to understand what is the remainder when p is divided by m, right? Now, If P is divided by M, I need to have some information for both P and M. The first statement gives me that P is equal to M plus 1 by 8. So M plus 1 by 8 is what I have for P. Now, understand this very genuinely. You remember what you wrote in the short answer poll on my request, that first calculate the individual remainder, then bring in the power. So when I divide P by M, and if P is equal to M plus 1 by to the power 8, and if I divide P by M, I have M plus 1 whole divided by M divided by to the power 8. So first of all, I'm not going to look at the exponent right at the start. I'm going to look at the individual remainder and then bring in the exponent. So the individual remainder is what? M plus 1 divided by M. Now, you all know that M is greater than 1. Let's look at a few questions. Let's look at a few parallel examples. Can you people tell me what is the remainder when 7 plus 1 is divided by 7? Very quickly in the short answer poll, guys. What is the remainder when 7 plus 1 is divided by 7? It's equal to 1, right? What if I have 10 plus 1 divided by 10? The same answer follows. 10 plus 1 divided by 10 would also give me a remainder of 1. Now, why does this happen? You need to understand why does this happen. Now, if I write 7 plus 1 divided by 7, and if I move back to my second sequence, 7 plus 1 by 7 can be written as 7 by 7 plus 1 by 7. Very quickly, in a yes-no poll, mark a yes if this is clear to all of you. I brought in the yes-no poll. Please mark a yes if this is clear to all of you. I'm just using sequence 1 over here. 7 plus 1, when I divide that by 7, I simply write it 7 by 7 plus 1 by 7. This is something that we learned in sequence 1. We're going to use the same thing over here as well. When I write M plus 1 by M, I can write this as M by M plus 1 by M. Now, very quickly in the short answer poll, what is the remainder when I divide M by M? What is the remainder when I divide M by M? It's always going to be 0, right? When I divide 2 by 2, it's going to be 0. When I divide 3 by 3, if I divide the same number with itself, the remainder is always going to be 0. So this is going to give me a remainder of 0 plus 1 by M. And keep in mind, M is a number which is greater than 1. So what is the remainder when 1 is divided by 2, or 1 is divided by 100, or 1 is divided by 1000? The remainder is always equal to 1. Whenever I divide 1 by a number that is greater than 1, the remainder is going to be equal to 1. So M plus 1, when I divide this entire expression by M, the final remainder is equal to 1. And then when I have the final remainder, I'll bring in the power. I'll bring in the exponent. The exponent over here is 8. So 1 to the power 8 simply essentially means that's equal to 1. So from the first statement, can I reach at the answer? Yes, I can. So the first statement is a sufficient statement to answer this question. I hope it's clear to all of you. So what did we use? We used sequence 1 to understand what happens when M plus 1 is divided by M. We calculated the individual remainder, then brought in the final exponent over here to get the final answer. All right, so we could get the final answer from the first statement. What about the second statement? The second statement does not give me any information about P. It just tells me about M. Now, if it does not give me any information about P, I cannot say that the second statement is a sufficient statement. And since statement 1 is sufficient, 2 is not, the answer for this question is choice A. Now, very important question that I have from Vedang. The remainder of 1 by M is 1. Yes, it is, because M is greater than 1. Take a few examples at your end. What is the remainder when you divide 1 by 2? What is the remainder when you divide 1 by 5? If the divisor is greater than what I have in the numerator, it's always going to be 1, right? Vedang, is that clear to you? I hope it is. I hope that answers your question. Now, whenever you have these kind of areas, always make sure you take a parallel example to solve this out, right? So that's very easy. All right. I hope the solution for this question is clear to all of you. Now, if that is, let's move on to question number 9. Just give me one moment over here, guys. Just to very quickly, I'll bring in the poll for question number 9, hiding the poll for question number 8. Again, the same process for this as well. I want you people to click on still solving. Can you please click on still solving? All right, let's move on to question number 9. All the best, all of you. All right, let's look at the answer for this question. Last 5 seconds. If you have not marked the answer, guys, please mark it. If you have not marked the answer, I request all of you to please mark the answer. 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to end the poll and let's broadcast the results. So 44% of you tell me that the answer for this question is choice A, which is almost 3 times of what I had in the first go. 25% of you tell me that it's choice D, 21% of you tell me it's either B or C, and another 8% with choice E. All right, now let's read this question. If n is a positive integer, what is the remainder when 38 to the power n square is divided by 13? Now, I am going to open the short answer poll. You people tell me, what is the remainder when 38 is divided by 13 first? What's the remainder when 38 is divided by 13? Absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. It's either 12 or minus 1, right? It's either 12 or minus 1. We'll use this knowledge. And I'm very, very happy that you could see that. Okay, I'll clear all the answers. I'll keep that for another question. So 38, when I divide it by 13, I get minus 1 as the remainder. It's either 12 or minus 1, but yes, calculating 12 to the power n square versus minus 1 to the power n square, I'll always go for minus 1 because this is very, very easy. Now, so I have the remainder, and the remainder is equal to minus 1 to the power n square. There are two cases for this. One is, what if n is odd? If n is odd, n square would be odd in nature. If n square is odd, minus 1 to the power an odd number always gives me an odd minus 1, right? It would always give me minus 1. So in that case, the remainder would be minus 1. And I know that final remainder cannot be minus 1, so the remainder would be 12. Any which way, if I know that n is odd, I will get a remainder. What if n is even? If n is even, minus 1 to the power even is again plus 1, right? So I'll get a remainder if n is even as well. So I just need to understand the even odd nature of n to find out the answer for this question. Is this clear to all of you up till this point? Is this clear to all of you? If I know if n is even or not, I can answer the question. And how did I reach to this point? It's just that I calculated the remainder. First, I calculated the individual remainder, then brought in the exponent in the question. Again, if you have a question around this, how did I get this? Please feel very free to put that in the short answer poll. I'll take that right now. Very quickly, guys, I'll give you 10 seconds. Please put that out in the short answer poll if you have any confusion. If not, we'll move ahead after 10 seconds. All right, no question, so we'll move out. So I just need to understand whether n is even or not. The first statement, what does the first statement tell me? N leaves no remainder when divided by 4, right? N leaves no remainder when divided by 4. Okay, before that I have a question. Are you applying the minus 1 concept to the power of odd or even number? Yes. Minus 1 to the power odd always gives me minus 1. Minus 1 to the power even always gives me plus 1, right? Okay, so now let's come back. The first statement tells me n leaves no remainder when divisible by 4 or divided by 4. That essentially means n is of the type 4k, right? N is of the type 4k, and that is the reason it doesn't leave a remainder. If n is of the type 4k, it's definitely even. Can I get to the answer if n is even? Yes, I know the remainder is equal to 1. So statement 1 definitely is a sufficient statement. What about statement 2? Statement 2 tells me root of n is only divisible by 1 on itself. Now I am going to open the short answer poll. Guys, what kind of a number is divisible by 1 on itself? What kind of a number that I'm looking at over here? Which numbers are divisible by 1 on itself? Absolutely correct. Only prime numbers are divisible by 1 on itself, right? It has to be a prime number. So root of n has to be a prime number. If root of n has to be a prime number, if you square both the sides, n has to be the square of a prime number. Now, can you tell me the even odd nature of n square, the even odd nature of n? Now, n is a prime number, right? N is a square of prime number. And what are some prime numbers? We have 2, we have 3, we have 5, we have 7. So we have all odd prime numbers, but we have 2 as well, which is an even prime number. So n can be both even and odd. Now, since n can be both even and odd, the answer for the question can be 12 and 1. Two answers, not possible. I cannot reach to one single answer. Since I cannot reach to one single answer, the second statement cannot be a sufficient statement over here. Is the solution clear to all of you? Please mark a yes in the short answer poll. If you have any question, please state that question. I'll help you understand that. But again, a very, very good question. And how did we do that? Very simple. We just calculated the negative remainder, wanted to see what's the value of n in terms of even or odd. Just wanted to check that polarity, right? So again, very, very easy question. A difficult question, however, turned into an easy question due to the learnings we had over here. So question number 8 is done. Question number 9 is done. We'll now move on to question number 10. Before I move on to question number 10, I'm going to clear the short answer poll. Now, I told you something that 24 is divisible by 3 because, I have something in 24. I have 3 in 24. Is that concept clear to all of you? Please mark a yes in the short answer poll. 24 is divisible by 3 because I have a 3 inside 24. 55 is divisible by 11 because I have an 11 inside 55, right? That's clear, right? That is perfect. So with this, let's move on to question number 10. Please mark us still solving, guys. Very, very quickly. Please mark us still solving. Keep this thing in your head and then we'll move on to mark this answer. All right. Question number 10. All the best, all of you. All right, last 5 seconds. Please mark your answer if you have not marked it yet. And I don't understand why my pen is behaving like that. I'm sorry. I'm just very quickly going to clean this up. Just give me one moment. Okay, 3, 2, and 1. I am going to end the poll over here. And let me very quickly clean this up, guys. I don't know how did this happen, but it seems that there were something. Okay, select this, delete this, gone. Okay, let me take my pen and hide out the ballot. So what's given in this question? And before that even, let me broadcast the results. Now I see 36% of you have marked choice D as the answer. A fair share of people marking choice A, B, and C. So let's see why the answer for this question is choice D and not A, B, and C or E. Now I need to find out what is the remainder when 4m is divided by 16. Keep that in mind. When 4m is divided by 16, when m is a positive integer greater than 1. Now it's given that I need to find out the remainder when 4m is divided by 16, m is a positive integer and greater than 1. So m can be written as 4m can be written as 16q plus r using the same formula. Dividend is equal to divisor times quotient. Here we have taken q as the quotient, r as the remainder. Keep that in mind that r is always a non-negative number as well as less than the divisor, right? So r can either be 0 or less than 15. All right. Now this is the information that's given to us. Let's now move into the next part. We don't have any further information, so we simply have to go to the first statement. The first statement tells me that m leaves a remainder of 4 when divided by 32 to the power 32. So m, when divided by this, so this is the divisor, this is the remainder. So I can write m as divisor times quotient, where k is the quotient, plus the remainder. This is the value of m. Now I don't have anything to do with m. I have to do this with 4m, right? So what would be the value of 4m? The value of 4m would be this entire number, this entire expression times 4, right? So that's 4 times 32 to the power 32 times k plus 4. If you simplify this further, I can write 4m as 4 times 32 times 32 to the power 31 times k, a very long expression, plus the major thing over here is when this 4 is multiplied with this 4, I get a 16. Now 32 to the power 32, I'll easily get a lot of 16s, a lot of 4s over here. So I just take out one 4 from that 32 to the power 32. So what do I have? I have 4m to be equal to 16 times some very big number I'm not concerned with, plus 4 times 4. Now what is 4 times 4? That's equal to 16. What is this 4 times 4 into some number? That is 16 again, times p. Again, I'm not that interested in p. P can be any expression. So I can write 4m in terms of 16p plus r. Now taking 16 common, I write that as 16 of p plus 1 again, which can be written as 16 q plus r. Now what is 16q plus r over here? Since I do not have any r, I can write r to be equal to 0. So 4m is equal to 16 times q plus 0. That tells me that the answer for this question is 0. So I get a remainder. If I get a remainder, I can I can say that statement 1 can be a sufficient statement to answer this question. Now I have 2-3 questions of the same type in the Q&A pod. Why can't we finally write, if I need to calculate 4m by 16, can I also do m by 4? Can I divide both the dividend and the divisor by 4? Well, you can do that, but at the end you need to you need to multiply that same number with the remainder that you get. So again, much more calculation intensive. I don't want you to go over there, right? I don't want you to go over there. If it's given 4m, please stick to 4m. That way you understand the question. Everything is visible in front of you. If you go to m, it will only increase calculations, guys. It will only increase calculations. But yes, there is a scope. You can do it by m by 4, but also make sure when you get to the final answer, you multiply that remainder with the same number you initially divided with, right? I hope that's clear. But again, this works both ways, and statement 1 is sufficient. Let's now move into, okay, before I move into statement 2, very quickly, the yes or no poll, guys. Is the first statement is sufficient? Is the solution for this clear? Again, at any point in time, I am going to open the short answer poll. If you have any question, post that question in the short answer poll. I can see 4 of you not clear. So very quickly post that question in the short answer poll. Which is that part that you could not understand? And please do this while I solve, because this is a difficult question and I have to give that to you. This is a difficult question. This is a question of the level 700, 750, 760. So I would give that to you. So very quickly in the short answer poll, which was that part that you could not understand? Let's wait, and if someone responds, I'll take that. 32 raised to the power 32. Again, very simple. Compare this with 24 to the power 3. 24 to the power 3 is divisible by 3, right? Because 24 has a 3 inside it. 32 raised to the power 32. Does 32 have 4s inside it? And let me just get this over here. Sarthak, does 32 have 4s inside it? Yes or no? 32 definitely has a 4, right? 32 is equal to 4 times 8. It has a 4, Sarthak. 32 is equal to 4 times 8. 32 has a 4, right? Since 32 has a 4, I just want to get out a 4 because I want to have 16s, right? So I already have a 4 here. I need to get out a 4 from here. If you don't even consider that, consider taking out a 16, right? Consider you can taking out a 16. So I get 4s out of it. If I get a 16, then I can definitely go to the answer. Is it now clear to you, Sarthak? Vedant, you can do that. Just make sure you multiply the remainder at the end as well. People essentially make a mistake there, and that's something that I always keep that in mind. Ashish, I hope that is clear to you. I just calculated out. I just took out 16s to make sure that I can write it in terms of 16q plus r. Again, Kethi, so basically I am trying to find out 16s, right? So I am trying to find out 16. So I just took 132 out of 32 to the power 32, right? Then I got what? 32 to the power 31, and then I get 32 over here. 32 can be written as 4 times 8. Why am I taking out that 4? Because I need a 4 with this 4 to make a 16. I'm just trying to make a 16 over here. Kethi, is that clear to you? This is just a representation of how do you take out numbers from a bigger number. We just broke that out into its various statements. All right, this is clear to all of you. Let's move into the second statement. The second statement tells me m to the power 3 is divisible by 16. Now, very quickly, m to the power 3 is divisible by 16. 24 is divisible by 3 because 3 is present in 24. Can you translate the same for this statement? Can you translate the same for this statement? If m to the power 3 is divisible by 16, can you translate the same in those lines? In the short answer poll, I've opened the short answer poll for all of you. M to the power 3 has 16, right? Does all of you agree with this? M to the power 3 has a 16 inside it. Okay, m to the power 3 has a 16 inside it. Can I write 16 as 2 to the power 4? Can I write 16 as 2 to the power 4? Right? So essentially it means that m to the power 3 has a 2 to the power 4 in it, yes or no? M to the power 3 has a 2 to the power 4 in it. All right, we'll just take a pause over here. We'll just take a very short pause over here. Just keep in mind that m to the power 3 has a 2 to the power 4 in it. Now, any number in the number system can be written in the form of its prime factors to the power its exponents. And let me very quickly get the yes no poll for all of you. Any number in the number system can be represented in its prime factorized form. Again, I told you that 24 is divisible by 13. 24 is divisible by 3 because 3 is present inside 24, right? The same thing over here. M to the power 3 is divisible by 16. That means m to the power 3 has a 16 inside it, right? So it has a 2 to the power 4 inside it. Okay, just wait. I can write all numbers in this format. M is equal to 2 to the power a times p to the power b times p2 to the power c, where 2, p1, p2, all of these are prime factors, and a, b, c, all of these are the powers of these factors. Now, if m is written as this, how can I write m cube? I cube both the sides. I write m cube as 2 to the power 3a times p1 to the power 3b times p2 to the power 3c. Now, I told all of you that since m cube is divisible by 16, it definitely has a 2 to the power 4 in it. So 2 to the power 3a is either equal to 2 to the power, let me write it down, 2 to the power 3a is either equal to 2 to the power 4 or greater than 2 to the power 4. Only then I can say that m to the power 3 has a 2 to the power 4 in it. Is this clear to all of you? Write a yes, mark a yes if this is clear to all of you. 2 to the power 3a definitely then has to contain a 2 to the power 4 inside it. Again, if you have any question on this, write that down in the Q&A. Write that down in the short answer code. I will take that. Let's go through this again. M has 2 to the power a in it, right? So m to the power 3 has to have 2 to the power 3a in it, right? If m to the power 3 has 2 to the power 3a, and I know m to the power 3 has 2 to the power 4, so this 2 to the power 3a has to be either greater than 2 to the power 4 or equal to 2 to the power 4. Only then I can say that this 2 to the power 4 is inside m cube. Otherwise, I won't be able to say that, right? So this is something that we need to understand. Now, if 2 to the power 4 is inside 2 to the power 3a, so 3a is either equal to 4 or greater than 4. So 3a is equal to 4 or greater than 4, or the value of a is equal to or greater than 4 by 3, which is 1.33. So the minimum value, and we all know that the exponent in the prime factorization always has to be an integer. So the minimum integer that is greater than 1.33 is equal to 2, right? Now, if that is equal to 2, I can say that the minimum power over here is 2 to the power 3a, where the minimum value of a is equal to 2. So I can say that m cube is 2 to the power 6 or something greater than 6 plus times whatever I have. So I'm not interested more in this. I'm interested more in the power of 2. So 2 to the power 2 has a power of 6 or more than 6. This is something I have to consider. Now, if I have 2 to the power 6 over here, let's go into the next part. So m has a 2 to the power 6 in this. So 4m, m cube has 2 to the power 6 at a minimum. So m has a 2 to the power 2. Again, if the minimum value of a is equal to 2, m has to have a 2 to the power 2 in it. If m has a 2 to the power 2, 4m would be 4 times 2 to the power 2 times something. Not really interested in the something part. I'm just looking over this part over here. So 4m contains a 16. I can write 4m to be equal to 16 times q, where something is the q part. 16 times q means 16 times q plus r, which is 0. So the remainder over here as well is equal to 0. So statement 2 is also a sufficient statement to answer this question. I hope the solution for this question is clear to all of you. Now, again, this question is a 750 level. If it's not clear, I recommend all of you to rewatch this entire question's answer. By that, I'm very, very sure that will be clear. Two things to keep in mind. One, whenever a number is divisible by another number, that number has to be inside that number, right? That number has to be inside that number. So I've just taken that same thing over here. If m is equal to 2 to the power a, m cube is equal to 2 to the power 3a. This has to contain a 2 to the power 4. So 2 to the power 3a is either equal to 4, 2 to the power 4 or greater than 2 to the power 4. That essentially means that 3a is either equal to 4 or greater than 4. So with that, we get to the next part. Now, since both the statements were true, the solution for this question is, the answer for this question is choice D, which 38% of you had marked. All right, that is very good. Now I have the short answer poll open, and let me very quickly clear all the answers over here. Bring in the yes no poll because I have some questions to all of you. Are you people now confident, guys? Now that we have learned negative remainders, these two sequences, are you people now confident? Mark a yes over the chat board. And if you are not, there might be cases that you are not feeling that confident. You need more practice. We already have the free trial open for you because we know that without practice, it becomes very difficult for you to understand the concepts. So go to the e-GMAT free trial, go to the Scholaranium tool, solve a few questions. I'm very, very sure it will now start coming to you. The concept will now start coming to you. So the bottom line for this is GMAT quant can be mastered and you can improve from a low quant score if you focus on learning. Because trust me, the first three questions that you solved right at the start, you had an average accuracy of around 15%. The next time when you solved it out, the first question was answered by almost 50%, the second by another 45, the third was by another 38. So the average answers were around that 40th percentage, right? The average accuracy was around that 40th percentage. So 3 times of what we saw during the start. So yes, you did learn a lot. So again, I don't want you to focus on. I don't want you to just keep on this. I would want you to solve more questions. And how do you solve more questions? Go to the e-GMAT free trial, solve out more questions. Only then you become strong in GMAT quant. Now I see someone tells me that it's confusing. Sarthak, you tell me it's confusing. Yes, it is. At times it would be, because again these are difficult level questions, right? But again, once you do that practice, once you do cementing quizzes, once you do practice a few questions, this would get easy to you. So please go and practice those questions. I'm very, very sure you would learn a lot. So, just to give you some pieces, just to give you some motivation over here, I've brought 3 case studies today, and I just want you people to take a look at these case studies. Krish over here, and he was very strong at quant, but despite being strong at math, he could not get a very good score initially in the GMAT. He was not being able to score good. What he then did, he then focused on learning. He focused on those approaches, the application of the concepts that we teach, the unified approaches that we teach. Once he focused on solving questions the right way, and he also had some problems, so he went through that data sufficiency module. Once he got through those modules, he scored a perfect Q51. You can go to the GMAT Club website and check these out, check the review out. So he got a Q51, ended up scoring a 740. Leonardo was a South American, and Leonardo, again, was faltering a lot in the approaches and was not able to solve questions. So what he did, and he was also not being able to cross that Q45 mark, and he practiced a lot of questions. But then he came to us. We told him that please follow the methodical approach. And when you follow one approach, the chances of making errors reduces substantially. So that's again something that we did in the session as well. We tried to follow one approach for all the questions that we have. He used the analytics from the Scholaranium tool, and once he did that, he went on to score a Q49. Not only that, he got a Wharton admit. And if you have not seen his interview recently that we had with Rajat, go to our e-GMAT YouTube channel. You would be able to find his story over there. He also talks about how to create a very compelling applications to stand out, even if you have a mediocre profile. We had Mazibar, and this might be a story with a lot of you. Tried to solve a lot of questions like Mazibar. Mazibar tried to solve a lot of questions from a lot of books, but essentially did not find any profit from that. So what he then did is he came to us. He then started doing everything in a progressive manner. So he started off solving easy questions. He learned the concepts, learned the applications, then went on to solving easy questions, then medium, then hard. So this progressive learning is a very important thing that you need to learn as well. This is something very similar to what we did in the session itself, right? So we used easy questions to make you get the concepts. Then we moved on to medium questions, then solved really difficult questions at the end. So this is something that you also can inculcate within your plan. From a Q30, he went on to score a Q45, which is really a great score, right? Guillermo is one of my favorite examples over here, because he had a starting score of Q38, which is again around that Q30 38th percentile, but he struggled a lot in topics, certain topics like algebra and inequalities. What he then did is he went to the Scholaranium data to understand what are those areas where he's not able to perform. So he focused on the weaker areas and got an ability estimate on all those areas, started working on that, used a very process-based approach. Once he did that, he improved to a Q50. Ended up getting a 710 and getting into top B schools, and also getting into getting invites from a Wharton, and Wharton, which is essentially a quant focused school. At Q38, you definitely are not going to get a interview invite. So yes, your quant score is very, very important over here. So to ace GMAT quant, you need to focus on learning. You need to adapt good habits. I hope the concept of dividend is now clear to all of you. Try out some questions on that. I'm also going to attach the PDF so that you get your hands on 2 more difficult questions to solve those 2 questions. Go to the e-GMAT free trial, solve more questions, and then I'm very, very sure you would be able to approach all these questions very easily. So as concluding remarks, I would say make sure you have a 200% clarity in the concepts. Ensure that you solve all questions in a step-by-step fashion. Become an active reader, because if you do not do that, you would miss out on constraints, and that might lead you to making errors on the GMAT. Trust the test maker, because I was getting some questions. What if M is M cube? What is M is 25 and all those? GMAT is a test where they want to see how logical are you, how smart are you. It will not throw you, and it will not ask you to calculate what's the value of 25 to the power 25, right? That's something that's not the style for GMAT. So make sure you understand that, and also make sure that you believe in yourself, because when you have that confidence in yourself, I'm very, very sure you would be able to ace the exam. Right. With that, I would open the floor for any questions you have. But before that, the short answer poll is open. I would love to have a feedback from you on how was the session, how did you like the session. In the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'll share the session PDF and any the other session collateral that I have. It will be great, guys, if you could provide feedback on how did you like the session, because we're constantly improving, and we'll definitely take that as well. And I'd love to see some feedback over here. And in the meantime, I also have the session PDF for you. So anyone who wants to download the PDF, you can easily click on this link and download the PDF using this link. And also, if you have any questions, any doubts regarding quants, regarding number properties, ask that out. I am there to guide you through that. And if you want something to help, if you want me to help you with something more into detail, write to me at support@e-GMAT.com, and I'll help you out with that query as well. Okay, I have a question over here. Where can we take the diagnostic test? So you just go to your e-GMAT free trial. You click on the Sigma X mock. You take the first mock. The first mock is free for all of you. And again, if you have not taken a diagnostic test, guys, please make sure you do that, because the diagnostic test is that area where you get to understand how are you doing based on each subsection that you have on the GMAT. I am very glad to see all these good comments, guys. These are real motivation pointers for us, very honestly, because what we want is you do good in your GMAT. That's the success that we look for, right? So when you do good, we are automatically happy. Thank you so much, Richa. Thank you so much for that comment. Mohit, thanks a lot for that comment. We strive for your success, and that's something that we would keep on doing for love. We'll keep on doing. Rajavi has a question. Request you to arrange similar session on time and work. Yes, we have word problem sessions on the works, so we are going to do that as well. How long will the session recording be available for? The session recording is available till eternity. It's also available in YouTube, and if you want to take a look at any point in time, just go to the YouTube channel of e-GMAT, and you would be able to see that. Right? Any other question that you want me to take? Or if not, you can also write to us at support@e-GMAT.com, where I'll be very, very happy to attend those questions of yours. With that, I'm also attaching the link for the GMAT strategy call. If you want to have a call with one of our strategy experts, please make sure you click on this link, book a call. It's only given on the on a first come first serve basis. So that's how we do it. My contact number, I'm very sorry, Mohit, we are not, we cannot share our contact numbers, but yes, if you need any help, just write to me at support, use my header, and I'll be able to help you out with that, right? So that's not going to be any problem. And if you want to get on a one-on-one conversation, you can also drop a connection request on LinkedIn, if that's fine. You can drop me a text over there. We can take that up there as well. Whatever is fine with you is something that's cool with me as well. Right? No more questions, I see. So, guys, it was wonderful being with you in the session, and I hope that you attend our next sessions as well. Do register. If you want to find the next sessions, just go to e-GMAT.com, scroll below, and you would find the next upcoming sessions over there. I'm I am very excited. I'll be seeing you in those sessions as well. Till then, have a very good day or a very good night ahead and take care of yourself. Bye bye.